We know Terry and Art are not present. Carrie?
Present.
And Karen?
Present.
And is John present?
No.
Okay. And then extras, we have Mel, Laura, Robin, and Doug. And possibly Marcus Phelps as a guest.
Here.
It looks like Marcus Phelps and William Oniski.
Bill Oniski is a city councilor in Westfield, and I had a couple of conversations with him regarding Zoom and so on, so he's probably joined in to listen in on how this meeting goes.
Okay.
Bill,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
Well, they know it's being recorded.
Okay, so we have the minutes of February 4th to review. Okay, does anybody have any changes to the minutes as presented?
They look good to me.
No changes.
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
Yeah, I move to accept the minutes.
I'll second that, Linda. Karen.
Okay, all right, we'll do a roll call vote. All in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Sheila?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Okay. Anyone opposed? And we had no abstentions, so they're accepted as written. Okay, next thing on the agenda, I'll get back to it, is to authorize the chairman to sign reserve fund transfers under the amount of $10,000. Any discussion?
What is the purpose?
Yeah, this is no.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. This is something that was suggested by the select board. They've done the same thing to handle the smaller purchases, so that we're not forced to have a meeting, once a week to take care of this stuff.
Okay. Anyone need any additional information on that?
Wouldn't we normally just do that on a monthly basis? Or are there emergency ones that we're expecting to come in just because of COVID-19?
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
So if we are getting together, we would use the normal process, but if it needs to get done and we can't get a meeting together, then Bob could.
Correct. But I will also email you in the event that any of them happen.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
I mean, worst come to worst, we could have a problem with people getting sick and getting a quorum even. So I think it makes sense.
That's a valid point.
I mean, hope not, but
Yeah.
we're not a big board.
All right. Any further discussion?
I guess I just have a question. I mean, if it's a COVID-19 issue, isn't there an emergency waiver anyway? Or am I just reading this incorrectly?
I think that's procurement waivers.
Okay. But additional funding sources? I guess I don't know why we would reduce our control around the finances if it's not an emergency, but.
Robin, did you want
to? For an emergency purpose.
Okay.
It's normally, if it's just for emergency purposes, it's probably to make sure that, we don't have a lot of outside contact from other people. A lot of times we do this at the end of the year anyways for any reserve fund transfers after, like before June 30th. So it's kind of a normal thing. It's not really anything that extraordinary. We usually do it, like I said, at the end of the fiscal year or right before the fiscal year ending.
Oh, how come?
We don't usually have our last meeting, Carrie, until like the 20th or whatever it is. It's not on the last day of the year. So if somebody comes up after that, That's
Right.
that's the process that's used, and the select board has deemed it necessary to do this now for their board, and they only have a 3-member board. So they suggested that we do this. I didn't generate this. This was at their recommendation.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm new to the process here. So at the end of the regular year, we would, not, as, the full board wouldn't need to vote on, these additional
Let's-
funds?
Hang on. Let me take a quick look at the calendar. So let's say our last meeting is the 22nd or the 15th, of June. Say that's our last scheduled meeting. Then for that, whatever time period after that, for those 15 days, 8 days, whatever after that, so that we don't have to have another meeting on the 30th of June, which is a Tuesday, not our normal meeting day. So then I don't know if they have, most of the stuff is taken care of before then, but that's just in case something comes up.
And it's just something, we actually vote on that in June as well. We have the same discussion in June. And it's just a way to cover in case that something needs to happen, that we don't have to all try to scramble and get together in a meeting if it's an emergency.
I don't know, I guess there's a sort of lack of control once that happens, if it's solely in one person's hands, but, so I'm not sure I love that idea. I mean, how many do we typically get at the end of the year?
Robin, did I ever sign anything to your knowledge? Because I don't remember doing anything.
I think Rich Bewley has maybe 1 or 2 at the most. They're usually just like little house cleaning ones.
Yeah,
They're less than $10,000. It's just, so you can get the process, finished and we can carry over the money. It's not anything, that's that exorbitant.
Now,
Yeah,
most,
I don't think I did one last year. That was my first year.
You might not have, but I know in the past Rich has done them.
right, they usually are minimum, because we try to get as much done ahead of time. But sometimes, like some of these, reserve fund transfers that we are gonna be presented to you, some of them are like from March 9th, so there's been a little bit of a delay from when people are submitting them to when the meeting.
And because Robin's gonna make us aware of them also, if we do have any concerns, I'm sure we can, schedule a discussion time to review the concerns.
After it's been approved, or there'll be here's the, thing that's gonna get approved. If you have any concerns, email me by X time.
I will give you the information as soon as I received it.
Okay. All right. So we'll have an opportunity if there is anything. I mean, the likelihood that there's going to be something untoward is probably small. But there'll be an opportunity for people to comment before it's approved.
Like I said, I would give it to you as soon as I received it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then if there were concerns, there'd be time to ask questions.
Correct.
Right, and I think if there were concerns, that's when we'd actually request to put a meeting together. But then
Right.
you have to give the amount of days notice to post it. Because of open meeting laws, we're not really supposed to be expressing concerns via email, so we'd have to have a meeting at that point, but we could at least, if there was time and enough people. I think right now in particular, we've done it in the past, it's never been a problem. Could it be? I hear your concern, Carrie, but my concern is at this point, we have a small team today. And if this is how we're meeting and people can't always get on Zoom or can't access it or become ill themselves, and it needs to happen, we want to be able to do that to keep the town moving in the way that it needs to be moved forward. That's my gut.
Yeah, I agree.
I do too.
All right, so I move that we accept that.
I'll second it. Karen.
Thank you.
Okay.
Roll call vote.
All in favor? Bob?
I say aye.
Linda? Aye. Sheila?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And Karen?
Aye.
Okay. All right, and that's everybody, so there's, no opposed and no abstentions. Okay, does, anybody else have anything to go under new business? Okay.
I don't.
If you do, we'll cover it again at the end of the meeting. So we'll move on to old business. And we have a reserve fund transfer in the amount of $7,000 for library maintenance, and that, I believe, was the furnace. Yes, it's for the furnace at the library.
I make a motion to do a reserve fund transfer in the amount of $7,000 for the library maintenance.
Okay.
I
Can I
second
get
Sheila.
Sheila?
Sheila. Yep.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, we'll do the roll call vote then. Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Carrie?
Aye.
Oops, Sheila, I skipped you, sorry. Sheila?
Aye.
And Karen?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous for this evening. So no opposed, no abstentions. Okay, next one would be a reserve fund transfer in the amount of $5,000 for the voting machines.
This machine is basically an unfunded. We hope it's going to be funded. I believe we're going to be putting in for this, for reimbursement on this. But I believe it's a machine to run just tabulations. So this machine is basically a regular voting machine, but it's only to be used for tabulations, and it can't be used as a backup. So, and that's mandated by the state. Correct me if I'm wrong, Robin, please.
I believe you're correct.
That was my understanding, that it was only going to be used for the absentee ballots.
Early voting.
Early voting.
Early voting,
Early voting.
that was it, early voting.
Okay.
And I think absentee for this next one.
When were they, it was already ordered just because of the time sensitivity?
Correct.
Bob, you were going to add something?
No, I was just going to move to approve the $5,000 for the voting machine.
Okay, can I get a second?
I'll second. Sheila.
Okay, all right, all in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Sheila?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And Karen?
Aye.
Okay, no opposed and no abstention, so that passes. Next reserve fund transfer is $3,000 for legal advertising.
What's that about?
Yeah.
Well, most of our money had, when we advertise at the old Westfield Evening News, that is, a very reasonable paper that bills us. But when we have to advertise to like the Springfield Republican, which we did a couple of times, one for the fire station project, one for the building inspector position, those ads run up to almost $1,000 per ad.
Wow.
So yes, it's very expensive. So we had to do that several times.
So is this to cover advertisements that have already been placed?
No, we need it to get us through the rest of, the year for any legal ads that we need to, do for any job ads or bids, that type of thing.
Do you have any that you need to do that you can tell us about?
Well, it's just normal ones that, people have to put in. I mean, I don't know any right now, but we need to have it for, future invoices. I do believe there is one that's outstanding, and that's $1,300 for the fire station. That was their bid that they had to advertise.
So this is various departments, right, Robin? This isn't just one
Right.
department.
This is town.
Exactly. It's all through town complex.
Right. So, and the process is we have a reserve fund which goes, and if I'm being redundant, I apologize, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware of the process. So our reserve fund goes for these unintended or unforeseen expenses. If whatever we don't spend goes back in the general fund. So if we give the selectman's office or select board's office $3,000 for legal ads, we budget $3,000 out of our reserve fund for them. That's where that goes if it doesn't get spent on legal ads. It's just apportioning the money for the legal ads.
Okay, did that make sense?
So if out of the $3,000, if they only use it to pay the $1,300 that they know of, the other $1,700, what would happen to that?
That goes back to the general fund out of that account instead of our reserve fund transfer or reserve account. I mean, it's going to go back to the general fund either way. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
Okay. And realistically, $3,000, I can really see us using all of that just in past history.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mel. Okay, any other questions?
I guess I was just wondering if there are other places that we could advertise other than the Republican that would be less expensive, like some of the online, as a teacher, when you look for a job online, you go right to a specific website for that kind of thing. And I don't know if they charge what their charges are.
I've advertised in the Beacon and on MMA website.
Aren't we required, though, by the law to use the newspaper?
I believe we have to, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a funny one.
I think that. Well, I don't know. It's probably written that it has to be. This is way before the internet. It probably goes back that far, and that it has to be posted, in print. But that's a good suggestion, Sheila.
Just something to look at. I'm not necessarily opposed to this one, but it seems like if they're in many areas we're able to do that. And I don't, as I said, I don't know, what the school districts pay for a school street ad or whatever. I don't know, but it's just a question.
And what you're suggesting, Sheila, is probably targeting your audience too, instead of just a broad blanket.
Right. So it may not, but it's just, they have Monster Inc. and they have whatever, but they are so global, that it might not be worthwhile either. So I don't know. I was just asking. I don't know.
Well, this one particular one, the 1,320 was for the bid procurement for the fire station.
So that would be different than a job. Yeah.
Yeah, that's altogether different.
It is. All right. I was just curious.
Okay.
I need to accept it. That's
All
true.
right. Sheila, did you just second?
No, I moved. Someone
Okay.
else needs to move.
Oh,
Second.
God. Karen, did you second it?
I didn't, but I will.
Okay. Thank you.
I
for
think
that.
you heard me twice, Linda. I said it once without my name, and then I said it again with my name.
Got it.
That's why you were confused.
Okay. I'm glad that's the reason. All right, we'll do the vote if there's no other questions. All in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Sheila?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And Karen?
Aye.
Okay, all right. So that's accepted, no opposed, no abstentions. Our final reserve fund transfer is $1,000 for the town nurse, and that is in regards to the COVID-19.
Well, mine says unrelated to the COVID-19.
Yeah, unrelated.
Unrelated.
I misread it then.
Okay.
All right, so can we get told what this is for? Oh, unrelated.
I don't. Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't do this reserve fund transfer. It was just given to me by the Board of Health.
Do we have a town nurse?
They do
Yes,
have
we
a,
do.
they do have a town nurse, and I think there was another, type of illness they were tracking or something. But they only have $40 left in that account. So,
So there's something else that they're needing to track? Is that what I heard?
I'm not sure. I thought there was mention of, there was one other thing they were doing, but this is definitely not COVID related. And that's coming.
Okay.
Motion to approve $1,000 for the school nurse reserve fund transfer.
Can I
It's not a school nurse.
It's our public health,
Town nurse.
I'm sorry,
Board of Health.
and I'm looking right at it too. Motion to approve a reserve fund transfer for $1,000 for the town nurse.
I'll
Can I-
second it. That's Sheila.
Okay. All right, all in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Sheila?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
And Karen?
Aye.
Okay. No oppositions, and no abstentions. So that's approved. Next on the list is for us to authorize the select board to make emergency procurement waivers for the Southwick Code, Chapter 8-2 for COVID-19 response actions. Does anybody need any additional information on that?
Yeah, I'd love to know what that's about.
What you anticipate as emergency expenditures?
Well, the procurement waivers, so I think that may refer to something else. It may result in a purchase order, but can Robin or Laura shed it?
There's an attachment. Tell them to read the attachment. There's a, if you read the Chapter 8, the building and contracts,
Okay.
it's right there under 8-2, emergency waiver in our town code book.
Okay. All right, so it says, by joint consent of the Board of Selectmen and a majority of the Finance Committee, the provisions of Section 8-1 of this chapter may be waived in the event of an emergency, damage, or injury to town property or public ways, which would restrict for an unreasonable length of time by normal operation of the town. So it's just to keep the town functioning.
But it's specifically property or public way.
That's what I was thinking
Yes.
too.
Yes.
So
Right, so
what
in other
kind of
words,
property
if-
damage, what type of property damage would COVID-19 do? This would be more personnel type issues.
Actually, I
Is
think it
Doug
would be
still on the
something
meeting?
like a culvert would, I'm sorry. I think it would be more like if a culvert, fell in, they'd have an emergency, they'd be able to address it on an emergency as opposed to trying to go out for bid for it to have it repaired. That's
Yeah,
just my guess.
Yes, but this specifically says having to do with COVID-19. So something happening to a culvert has nothing to do with COVID-19.
I have to agree with Karen.
Yeah, I would have no objections to waiving, emergency procurement, but what you're presenting here, it doesn't seem to fall under this code.
Is Doug still in the meeting?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you help shed any light on this?
I know that they invoked that because there wasn't, unfortunately, under the town code book, there is not a lot under global pandemics. So normally when we envision an emergency that we would need to suspend certain contracting or expenditure rules, it's more along the lines of some kind of natural disaster that happened, hurricane, snowstorm, blizzard, tornado, etc. But there have been some expenses that have cropped up that we needed to take immediate action on. So they invoked this same section under the same general idea. They haven't had to take there's been no tremendous expenses, but there's been some urgent issues that needed to be addressed quickly, so that they invoked the same provision under the law to take those actions.
So would this cover, I think there was like 8 towns or small cities that came together and signed an agreement for the fire department coverage?
No, that's more of an agreement just about station coverage. There was no money changing hands there, to my knowledge. I don't know how they're working that. It's more for station coverage in case staffing becomes depleted due to affected personnel. Westfield was affected more than we were so far, but there was just a concern that there may not be adequate coverage for that. But that's unrelated to this expenditure issue, I believe. Again, this was from the chair.
So this right here is because of the COVID-19 and the difficulty of getting people together on short notice. Is that why the request has come forward?
Not 100% sure.
Okay.
I didn't read up on your agenda. Actually, I plan to just kind of facilitate the meeting, so I didn't read up on your agenda to see what was on there. So I'm not going to answer something I haven't studied up on. I don't know the answer.
Smart man. Okay.
We could ask for more information from the select board, or we can take a vote. What's the committee's pleasure?
I personally would like to table this until we got a more detailed explanation.
I agree with you, Linda.
I do too.
Okay. A motion to table so we get more information.
I'll second that, Karen.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Yes. Sheila?
Yep.
Carrie?
Aye.
And Karen?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll table it, and Robin, if you could get us some additional information, or we could do the select board an email asking just for what's on their mind to make the request, and then we can revisit. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, the FY21 budget development document status. Where are we with that, Laura and Mel?
So we are working on finalizing the budget, and hopefully by, midweek, we will be mailing it to all of you. Carl and I are just putting some finishing touches on it.
Fabulous. And we have a new date for the town meeting, right?
Correct.
And I don't know if everybody knows that. Can you share that date with us?
Isn't,
Laura, do you have it? I don't have
I
the
don't have
calendar
that-
right in front of me.
I don't have the calendar. Is it the third
No, let me see. I've got one.
Tuesday?
I believe it's the June 16th, I believe.
Will be the town meeting and the town elections are the 9th.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so town elections are the 9th, the town meeting is the 16th. And will we still have a special on the 16th? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sorry, when was this special?
The special,
Same day.
Before the annual on the 6th,
Oh.
on the 16th. Okay. Could we, because there's a delay now, could we ask the school district for a more current budget on their part? Since we're going to be later, they should be able to have more accurate figures to us before the town meeting.
Yes, and actually, at their budget meeting, I requested a detailed breakout, especially of their 10% increase in their general operating
Yeah.
fund, and we never received that.
I don't know if we're privy to the agreement with the outsourcing of the bus garage or bus department, but one of my questions is when we had all originally met, they said that the capital improvement budget would decrease by like 300,000, bringing it down to anywhere between 200 and 300,000, and it's actually more than that. So that's why I was wanting to see the budget after they got everything current and finalized in that, because it didn't quite show up the way that they told us it would.
Seems like the other towns were concerned about that as well. Didn't we get a letter about that?
Yes, from Granville, they put in a formal request.
Yeah. So we'll check on that. I know Art's with the school department, and Carrie, are you with the school department for the liaison?
Yes, I haven't gotten any information directly
Okay.
from them.
Yeah, and
You might have
given,
to request it.
yes, we'll have to request it.
Okay.
An email might be best. I know a lot of people are not working in the office. I just don't know who is and who is not. So an email might be the best way to try to contact someone. Whether it be probably Steve Presnell. Okay. Does anybody have any new business that they need to address? Okay, any other old business? Okay, should we set a date for a future meeting?
Yeah, I mean, we should give ourselves a little bit of time to look at the budget. And if we get that this week, that, I think maybe going out a couple of weeks and something like that. How does that sound, everybody? So that would put us maybe at the 27th or into May 4th.
Either one works with me. And then after we decide on our meeting to look everything over and talk about it, will we then get a meeting date to meet with or discuss with the select board and do
Yeah.
a joint
Yeah.
review?
I can find that out from Carl, and yes, I can get that date to you, or what they're thinking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we want to go with May 4th or April 27th?
Let's go with May 4th to give the school committee time to respond to that request.
Should we, can I interject? It's Laura. Can we do the 27th, so that way it gives us time to meet with the select board?
If that works better for you, Laura, then we can, sure.
I'm just thinking timing, if we do ours on the 4th and then trying to schedule with the select board, that could just delay things.
Okay.
All right, so our next meeting will be April 27th, Monday, and is 5:30 good for everybody still?
Yes.
Works for me.
All right, so that will probably still be a remote meeting, so we'll have to have Doug help us set that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doug, are
Okay.
you available?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it looks all right.
Okay.
I'll schedule it and I'll also send the link to, and I'll try to figure out what happened. I looked at the email that I sent for the posting back on April 2nd, and it looked correct. So I'm not sure how it got transposed on the agenda that was posted on the website for this meeting that had the wrong link but the right meeting ID. So I'll send another one, another copy of that for a new posting for the 27th.
Okay. All right.
Is there a way, I mean, I tried to copy and paste it, and there's no way to take it off of the agenda?
I think
Maybe you could put that, maybe the next time you could put that in the body of the email where we could just, or was it in the body of the email?
It was. It was, but
It was, okay.
it also, if
My
you see
bad.
the meeting ID, if on your Zoom client, if you just click join meeting, it asks you for the meeting ID, and you just type in the 7 or 8 digit number, and it should go in.
And I couldn't get to that screen. I got to the first screen, signed in, and anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute if you got time. So 427, 5:30 sounds good.
Okay. All right. If there's no additional business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Just a quick question. Did we already have public comments?
Oh, Bob, thank you. No. Are there any public comments? Okay.
Well,
All right. I don't hear anything. Bob, thank you for that reminder.
No worries, no worries. Motion to adjourn?
Okay.
Second, Sheila.
Okay. All in favor? Bob?
Aye.
Linda? Aye. Sheila?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
All right. We are adjourned. Next meeting, April 27th.
Take care, everyone. Stay well.
Absolutely.
You too.
Take care.